got 33 years of experience in the industry, hovering around IT, in analytics, and in business intelligence primarily, to some extent in training and lean. The idea behind today's webinar was to motivate you to restart your career and get back into momentum as you were earlier. And the reason I have been chosen in this webinar is mainly being a woman who's taken breaks, been in the IT arena for a pretty long time, and traveled the globe, both in men-dominated roles, women-dominated roles across various parts of the world. I'll just walk you through, the first piece will be to walk you through some of the slides covering my part of the journey, and a little bit on what you should be doing in the reframing your career, rebuilding your career, as well as a few tips in that direction. Okay, so as you see the agenda, it will cover the career journey. Some of the clients I have been exposed to across the journey of 33 years. My core areas of competence and expertise. The domain areas which I have stretched into. The last few slides which you see, the value chain, transitions and career balancing, as well as the tips, is what I would suggest you focus a lot on, because that tells you how you can go up the value chain in your career, which areas you can transition, whether it be in the domain segment or technology segment, whichever segment, and how you will really balance your career across the dimensions, and a few tips. Okay, going to the first slide, I hope it's clear to everyone. Smita? Is the slide clear? Yeah. Okay. So I have started my career in Hindustan Lever way back in 1983, covering only the market research part of Unilever. I'm sure all of you have seen some of the products or tasted some of the products of Hindustan Unilever, like ice creams, which are now called frozen desserts again, Rin, Vim, Wheel, whatever soaps you use, detergents you use, Lux, Sunsilk, those kind of brands. So we used to do a lot of market research before the brand is launched in the market to assess the potential of those brands and what are the weaknesses, what are the strengths of those brands. So my core area of focus was analytics, and then later moved on to business intelligence per se. Analytics in the sense whether a brand will succeed in the market, what will be its market share, what should be the pricing strategy, and things like that. Later, I moved to Unilever Global, covering, I was basically outsourced to UK Unilever, again for analytics and BI, basically to service Africa, Greece, and Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Pakistan from the APAC perspective. So that was primarily because I was getting into a particular domain of analytics, which few people in India had, so they leveraged that across various countries. In fact, I don't know how many of you have seen the articles. I have an article on this on LinkedIn, which Smita and her team can share it, which talks about the 4 core areas of the Unilever journey which were applicable and have remained as a learning lesson for now. Later on, they moved me back into Hindustan Lever, but this time servicing the India part of Unilever, the Brook Bond, the Lipton, and the Ponds, which were new areas, and they were still not a part of the global Hindustan Lever company. So Lipton and Brook Bond were the foods companies. That's when the frozen desserts ice cream was launched, and incidentally, I did the first market research on the Quality Walls ice cream. Few of you might be knowing that it contains no milk. It is to contain what was called cocoa butter, which maintained the form and shape of the ice cream. Later on, I decided to take a career break, primarily because I was kind of going in late, coming in early, and managing my career, managing my home. I had an invalid parent to look after. So 3 years I did that, and then I said enough is enough, let's take a break. So taking a break also, I worked during the break from home doing consulting, primarily with a company called Chemsphere, and working from home, maybe a week in a month or something like that. So this opportunity was also, helped by the Unilever themselves, because they gave me the option of doing some of the jobs for them in terms of training and things like that for Lipton and Brook Bond and companies. And post the break, I decided that now it's time to move on. I had no need for the break after that point of time. So I decided a new career in Syntel in United States, doing business intelligence and data warehousing. Nothing much in analytics, primarily data warehousing, the ETL part of data warehousing, which is the extract, transform, and load part of data warehousing. So I went to United States in a area called Portland, Oregon, and was based there, doing a lot of development, doing data warehousing pre-sales, primarily for US alone, and traveling a lot across the United States. Moving on, I quit Syntel in US and joined a company called, a very small company, which was catering to Pfizer and Warner Lambert. So they were into informatics consulting, again doing data warehouse, data marts for the company, and servicing Pfizer and Warner Lambert. Later, I again moved back to India. I decided that 2 years is enough in the US and I need to come back again for my parent in India. So I said, let me come back and restart the career in India. So Syntel gave me an option to rejoin them in India, to head what is called their enterprise applications. They were calling it strategic initiatives, which was ERP, CRM, EAI, which was packaged EAI, and of course BI and data warehousing. So I started the Center of Excellence in India for business intelligence and data warehousing, and later serviced the globe sitting in India. Post that, I moved on to the training function of Syntel because there was too much traveling and I couldn't cope up with so much traveling for 10 years. So I decided to move on to training in India and service the globe sitting in India. Later on, they thought that training is enough for 3 years. Whatever process were to be put in, they have been put in. So a lean function was started in the company called Enterprise-Wide Lean, where lean, if most of you, I don't know, have heard of lean or not, but you must have surely heard of Six Sigma. So it is allied to Six Sigma and looks after waste management, waste control, process improvement. So that's what I did. I became a head of lean as well as training. I continued being the head of training and looked after lean. Post that, I decided I need a career break for myself, and I took a break doing up my house, traveling the globe, and then joined hands with a startup and our sales arm into product development in the mobility sector and build their comprehensive data model, which is industry agnostic and used across all their CRMs as well. Much later, I decided I needed to be hands-on in technology and analytics. So I did HANA certifications as well, and I got into SAP HANA, built a product which we are going to be launching maybe end of this year. So that's the story from the career perspective. And of course, you see that this is one of the companies which I work with in Australia, though I work from home most of the time. And one of the companies is in India, rather two of them together. One is our sales arm, another is Rewire, which looks after the consulting part. Any questions here before I move on to the next slide? Okay, I guess no questions, so I'll go on.
Hello? Yeah, I have a question.
Can you be a little louder?
You said that, yeah, you said you did a couple of courses because you wanted to have hands-on.
Right.
Yeah, so I missed that part. Like you said that something which is going to be launched later this year. What was it?
HANA, SAP HANA, H-A-N-A. HANA is an analytics It's actually an in-memory database for handling big data from the SAP perspective. So we build products in HANA for forecasting using HANA as a tool.
Something related to SAP.
It is a part of SAP. SAP is a company. SAP is a company which had an R3 ERP, which is now called S4 HANA, the ERP, and HANA is the underlying technology.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, Savita, I can see that there are two career breaks rather in the career map that I see over here. I would like to understand how did you handle it? Because I'm having just one gap right now. I have been working for 13 years as a learning and development consultant basically, and this is the first gap that I'm going through, and it's really difficult for me to get through something of my choice.
Yeah, I think I'll cover that in the later slides, what you need to do. But from my perspective, yes, I did do a lot of learning. Even in the first break, Java was a new technology to me. So I went and did a course in Java, understood that before I actually used it later on in the career. And also from an overall perspective, project management in the United States was very important. So did a few courses in project management as well. Okay, does that answer?
Doing courses and
Hello?
yeah, I said you carry on with your presentation. We will discuss about it.
Yeah. So if you look at the same slide as the past, I have just mapped the companies which were being serviced and the locations. So in Hindustan Lever, it was of course Hindustan Lever themselves. In Unilever, it was Unilever Malawi, which was Africa, where I had gone. In fact, I don't know how many of you know Malawi. Malawi, if you look at the map, it's a small dot on the map. It's close to Harare, and it's a very, very small country. And it was very difficult to get there, especially as a lady alone, and way back in 1989. And then Greece and United Kingdom, which was basically sourcing most of the pieces for APAC. Then doing work for Hindustan Lever, of course, Hindustan Lever, Pond's, Brook Bond, Lipton, and a little bit of Lakme. Then moved back to Intel Inc. in United States, servicing Boise, American Express, International Paper, Portland General Electric, Tektronix. They were basically the clients in data warehousing segment. I switched career there in informatics consulting. As I told you, they were only servicing Pfizer and Warner Lambert. They were in fact doing something very interesting for the worldwide safety to study drug-to-drug interactions and interactions on the medical history of the drugs. So like you see most of these drug mapping books which tell you what you are reacting to, what allergies you can get and things like that. So that was one data mart which I had built while working for informatics consulting in Manhattan. And I was there right in September 11th when the whole episode happened, and luckily I escaped. Okay. So that's where Pfizer office was in Manhattan. And moved back to Syntel in India, servicing again American Express, banking and financial segment, FedEx, the logistics segment, Allstate and CNA in the insurance segment, and State Street, Pacific Corp, Tektronix in the banking and financial and utilities segment. Pacific Corp was dealing with utilities, and Tektronix in electronics. Then back to our sales arm in Ascentra. Indian customers was Godrej Hershey's, Future Generali, and from an Ascentra perspective, it will be SAP and the SAP's customers. In the career break, the first career break, I worked for Hindustan Lever themselves, worked for Orange. I basically did the credit scoring model for Orange, where you people log in as Vodafone customers. So before logging in as a customer, whether to take you on board and not take you on board, they do a credit ranking of people. So that's the credit scoring model I had built, and also supported SAS in their pre-sales initiatives in India and Heinz in their BI initiatives. In the second career break, I did an analysis for Capgemini for their European client dealing in credit cards and debit cards in the eastern part of Europe. Core expertise area, business intelligence. I started life with analytics, moved to business intelligence, back into analytics, then into training, then into lean, back into analytics. Domain areas, fast-moving consumer goods like Unilever, Heinz, Pepsi, and all these people, Target, and banking and financial segments, State Street, as you saw, American Express, Ameriprise was insurance, CNA, Allstate. The major customers I personally dealt with, and they were my clients for doing all the data warehousing initiatives. My focus was primarily data warehousing and some of the ERP, CRM focus, and later on training focus. Healthcare, Humana was one of the major clients, and utilities, it was Pacific Corp and Portal General Electric. Electronics, Tektronix. Now, looking at the value chain, I started my career after doing my master's in statistics and as a data processing assistant in market research in Unilever. My prime job was just doing tabulations and control card writing. And 2 days in the job and realized it's a very boring thing to do after doing a master's in stats. So why not leave the company? So I asked this to my boss and he says, do you want to put your hands in programming? So I said, surely. So he said, open the cupboard, look at the files, understand programming yourselves and start writing. So that's how my career began in programming. And I started writing small scale programs till I graduated into a research assistant, writing major programs for the company in-house as well as getting them developed through third parties. And one of the major programs was new brand market share predictions. So I actually predicted the market share of the brand before it was launched in the market. There used to be places in Shivaji Park in Mumbai where they used to go and do pseudo shop techniques, actually put a pseudo shop and make people purchase. And that was put into an analytical model, which I researched in the libraries of JASA journals, American Statistical Association journals, and we refined the techniques and implemented them. So that was my core contribution. And also brand price trading analysis. What should be the optimal price of a brand beyond which people will not buy that brand. So that is called choice modeling in the analytics terms. Later became a research manager, was outsourced to Unilever, Africa, Greece, APAC, as you know, doing development in something called PC Express, which is now called Oracle Express. It's an in-memory tool. So I used in-memory tools right from 1986 to 1993. Later on, I decided to move out of market research and do something in general IT, because now I was full-fledged into IT. So they put me in implementation of systems in the sales analysis, financial analytics, analysis for Unilever group of companies. And I was actually servicing all Unilever companies and making presentations to 17 of those countries across the globe. So that they were implementing same systems across the world. So that's why. Later on became a project manager in the United States doing business intelligence and data warehousing. Moved on to become the general manager again back in India doing enterprise applications, COE development, Center of Excellence development. Primarily for those of you who are not aware, Center of Excellence is basically sharing best practices, building artifacts for data warehousing and business intelligence, which is shared across the globe. Later on, moved to training strategy and operations, primarily across all tools, all kinds of training, and then also lean. Lean is basically sharing best practices of value control, artifacts, anything which is to do with value across the organizations. We were sharing a lot of best practices. And also reusing components like for the IT people, the test templates and things like that, architectures, all were shared across the globe. Now in strategic consulting, in analytics, as well as in mobility. So if you look at the same tree, there's been a technology change, there's been a location change, there's been lots of domains added, and processes changed. And also strategic leadership being taken there. Any questions at this point? So if you look at the tree, it has got a change in technology, a change in process, a change in location. So these are the three dimensions which you have to keep open for any career. So it's not only technology that you need to learn, but you also have to be free to move across locations, changing the domain, and also certain processes. Like I moved into lean, which was an entirely new process for me. Any questions still here before I carry on? Okay, so when it comes to a particular career balancing, you have three components in your career. One is your personal life with your parents, your spouse, your kids, in-laws, and the other is your professional life between your office, your professional groups, your office parties, your social life in terms of your friends, relatives, social groups, your temple, your NGOs, whatever you want to do. Primarily on one hand of the profession is work-related aspects, where you are supposed to be working with people. In the social aspect, you typically give back to the society. They may even support you at times, but giving back is a lot to do in your career as well. And nowadays, it's a lot of emphasis is given in the organizations for the CSR initiatives. So you also have to be a part of the CSR initiatives to have your career growing within the organization. And from parents and in-laws and kids, you always have the support system which you have to provide to them, and also rely on their support for a lot of things. You can't have a career without support from anybody at home. And they are your key strength. So, they are not a liability, but they are a key support area for you. And unless and until somebody in your family supports you, you will never be able to have a very, strong career. So you also have to push to get that support, to be able to dedicate the time to kind of pitch in for you when you're not there. Maybe your maid, maybe your husband, maybe your in-laws, anybody. So that will drive the thing. And that's how I succeeded, because I had a lot of support to sit back, to help when I needed to go on travel and kind of move around. So that's something which you need to have. So your fine act of career balancing lies in how you are actually leveraging that support rather than pushing back. So leveraging that support as well, saying yes to a lot of things in the office based on that support. A few tips. I think one of you asked me this question earlier as to what should we do and how did you do it. So I think these are the core areas. You have to be a lot of, punctual in your organization wherever you go. Punctuality is one core strength you should have, as well as discipline. So, you have to be disciplined in your work in terms of your documentation, in terms of your putting things into folders, easily accessible, easily reusable, because these are the things which will save your time. Then skill enhancement is a major factor for you. Skill could be domain, skill could be technology, skill could be any new process you learn, any new way of doing things you learn, anything you research. So that is a must. And especially when you go back into your career again, you have lost out on a whole lot of developments which have happened in the last 3 years or 5 years of your career break. So those need to be brought back. Emotional intelligence is a key part of your growth. Emotional intelligence, how you leverage your emotions in the organization, how you leverage them taking the support from your family, and how you leverage them with the CSRs or other initiatives which you do. The ability to reinvent has to be very, very strong in you. By saying what you did last year, you were a, leadership member, and, you got certain things done and things just happened for you. But today you have to reinvent on par with juniors in your organization. So you have to reinvent, you have to learn. Like I told you, learning HANA. Learning HANA at this stage. I'm 55 years today. So it's learning HANA from scratch, which maybe I'm competing with a 22, 23-year-old. So willing to reinvent yourself in terms of the way you handle people, in the way you handle technology, in the way you handle social media today. Social media plays a very important role, both, I'm coming to it even in networking, both in reinventing as well as in networking. Why I say reinventing? Because social media is not just Facebook. Social media is a lot to do with sites like LinkedIn and others, where you have a lot of groups from which you can learn. It be technology, there are courses, there's Coursera where you can learn new and new techniques, new and new courses, very easy to use things to improve your overall functioning. Today I'm doing a course from Stanford, sitting here in India, free of cost in machine learning. It's very easy to do it. So that willingness to reinvent you should have. And also networking. Networking, there are, especially for the IT guys I see, there are a lot of meetup groups which you should be a part of. Because these meetup groups allow you to network with people, like-minded people, how they are handling the same problem. So it could be IT, it could be general, it could be a women's group, which tells you how they handle the same problems. And that's what is important. Overall, you should have something called a never say die attitude, by saying that, oh, I can't do this because I'm a little older than the rest of the people or whatever. That attitude has to go. You have to know that you can do it if you set your mind to doing it. So that's my tip for you. So anything at this thing. So I end my presentation with this. Is anything you would like to ask? You're free to ask questions.
Hello. Hi, Savita. Kirti this side. Yeah, I have one question. How did you kept your self-learning curve always like high? Because when on career break, you get so many things on high priority rather than self-learning. And even if you get the time for self-learning, it's just maybe 2 to 3 hours. So that is not enough to keep up the pace with upcoming or latest technology. So how did you manage that?
I think one of the things is I was hardworking at that point of time because I knew my mother needed my attention, and I couldn't leave her to the ayahs or the maids of the to be looked after, and that was the main reason I gave up my career the first time. So I used to put in midnights to put her to sleep and then sit on a course. I actually had a computer that time itself at home, so that I could get onto the networking sites and look at the new tools. And that's how I learned new technologies as well as project management and things like that. So you have to be a little bit hardworking. At the same time, you have to be a little flexible in the sense you leverage those little bits of time which you get in between. Maybe she's asleep, I would take an hour off there. Maybe my dad would be around, I'll push her onto him for an hour, and that's how I made time, multitasking. When I joined Unilever, in the very first month, they used to give me a lot of research in one product. Halfway through, give me a research in another product. So surf would be important, then RIN would be important, then something else. And there was a boss of mine who was there, and he said, do you have any problems? I said, yes, I do, because I can't complete one assignment by the time they give me another. So he gave me a very interesting reply, and which is what I, hold it till date. He said, market research is a game of jumble balls. Your efficiency lies in how many you let go and how many you hold. So you have to be multitasking all the time and understand that, this thing needs priority. My baby needs priority, so I should give it here. My parent needs priority, so I should give it here. But you have to be flexible but never give up your career for good. You work from home, you work part-time, you go back, you reinvent, but never give it up for good. It's good for you mentally, and also for your sanity, in intelligence, because I realized sitting 5 years at home that, I was talking more in Marathi than in English. So because I was most of the time communicating with maids, that's not what I wanted. So obviously you had to have these groupings and go out once in a way and group and get things done. So that is very important. Yes, you have to stretch your work hours. That is important.
And one more thing, like your
Sorry.
one more thing, like your self-learning was basically through books or through technology, like computer, peer, like group study kind of thing.
I did all the three. I went in for a Java certification in WinTech at that point of time. So I actually took in 1 hour in the evening, 3 days a week, and I went and did that course. And then I did online searching because I used to surf articles and things like that, and data warehousing, what is happening. Because I was never exposed to data warehousing in beyond OLAP. It was more so in OLAP in India. So that's when I started learning online. So yes, it is a mix of both, a small certification, a next door class which you had, maybe a few miles away. And that's where in Dadar I figured out, I was living in Sion, I discovered in Dadar there are these courses happening in the evening. So somebody is there in my house in the evening. Maybe my aunt can pitch in a day, maybe my father can pitch in a day. And that's how I made that course going. And also, of course, at night I sat, religiously to do surfing on the net. Because net surfing had just begun. Internet was not that frequent. This time it was, but in my first break, it wasn't that common. Yeah. Anything else?
Anita here, Savita.
Yes.
My question, am I?
Yes, carry on.
Savita, my question is, I see you have changed domains. I have
Correct.
been in travel industry for about 8 years, and
Okay.
we do not have too much of open. So I am on a 1-year career break now. And when I get into this industry, it's like, I don't know. So changing a domain at this point of time, I don't know how to do that. So any tips on this area?
Yeah, I think changing a domain, as I told you, there are a lot of courses on what you need to do. So first of all, you have to be convinced whether you want to change a domain, yes or no. I think you should if the market is not bright in your domain. If it is, then you can carry on. Because today what is happening in a travel industry per se, a lot of automation has happened. And I have seen, in my ex-company also, a lot of people who are focusing on travel have either moved into BPO, to do that, or moved into
Correct.
KPO to do that, because they leverage that expertise which was there, not in the travel industry, but more in the BPO and KPO industry. Today, analytics people are employing a whole lot of domain experts from travel industry. I know my ex-boss was employed last month. A lot of people from travel industry because he is doing a very good job in KPO. So you may move on to what is allied domains where you can leverage that strength of yours in your domain understanding into a newer domain of the IT and ITES sectors. So that is another
In fact,
area you can.
Yeah, Savita, I have been in the BPO industry for about 13 years right now. So
Very good.
exposure wise, it is just, if I, in BPO itself, if I have to
Right.
change my domain,
Right.
so it may be voice or non-technical. So
Correct.
background being and domain being different. So I am just confused, like where can I take these courses and all up from?
There are a lot of courses online which you can, in fact, if you give me your email, I can send you some tips on those courses. But, Coursera has, Udacity has, a lot of people have courses right from the financial domain. For instance, the other day I was doing a course in finance because I wanted some core things in derivatives and things like that. So there are a lot of courses available which are free courses. You don't have to pay for them also. So you just go on to the sites, explore. They're primarily 5-7 sites. For instance, this data lake certification which I did from Educast, and Udacity I did one, Coursera I did one. So there are various companies doing, and now Stanford I'm doing one. So it's if you surf the net into whichever field you want, you will find a course for it. So let's say if you're saying financial domain, what in financials you want to. So just put that query, you will get thousands of courses. And then you see which is free, which is not free, which you can afford, which you cannot afford, and based on that. Because some might be very, very expensive and some might not be. And some give you certification, some don't. So just look at that also.
Yeah, that was my point. Like, are these certifications like, valid when you go back to a company in an interview? Because I've had this experience. So it's not uh, too much. How good is it?
Somebody said it's not audible. Rarna or somebody. No, I'm saying, I think your connection is losing out, so people are missing your conversation. No, what I'm saying is certifications, if you want certifications, there are some institutes which give you certifications, some don't. Some ask you free payment for those certifications. So it depends on you. You want to get a paid certification? Yes, you can get it. If you want unpaid, some give you certification, some don't give you. So it depends on that. So open courses are not always certified. They are sometimes just training. But if you look at the industry, then I don't know whether everybody looks at certifications today. I see a lot of people employing without certifications as long as you prove your domain knowledge. So that's something which you have to bear in mind. I was the training head in Sintel, and I used to recruit people, about 4,000 people in a year from across campuses. One thing I didn't look at was their marks, because I looked at them in the interview, how they behaved, how they had the aptitude, how they were willing to learn, and those kind of things. So I don't think every company just looks at a certification or a stamp. So like for instance, I did a course now in HANA. It was not so much for the certification as much as the understanding of how HANA BW will network with it. So I think every company, what you have to prove is your domain knowledge. So even at the interview, the questions on how you answer in the domain is very important. And another thing that you can do today, a lot of data is available to you. So you can go on the net, look at open data sources, and you can actually play around with that data using your domain knowledge. So that's something you can do.
Hi Savita, I'm Padma here.
Yes, Padma.
Hey, I'm actually currently evaluating courses in analytics. So I'm also planning to, shift my area of expertise and probably, do something in analytics. There's, too much noise out there considering, analytics is the new thing. Is there anything you can probably recommend at the moment, something like a proper certificate program which is currently valid out in the market?
Yes. In fact, just 2 days ago, I have been, I've also been on the board with EduAnswer. Basically when they started in India, in Bangalore and in Mumbai. So, and also with Jigsaw. Jigsaw has now come out with a very good course tied up with Chicago. And so also its competitor is Great Lakes. They have come out with two good courses. They have certificate programs. But see, in analytics, there are, I know lots of people say analytics is a new thing, but machine learning I learned way back in Unilever. So I have not learned anything new in the last few years. It's more to do with deep learning and things of how you use the machine learning. So in fact, when I was evaluating some of the courses with the requirement of machine learning in particular, I think Jigsaw course comes out the best course, which they very recently started. And that is tied up with Chicago University, I think. So that is one. And the other one, Great Lakes, is a very good course. But Great Lakes is, I think, not focused very much on machine learning. So if machine learning is your area of focus, then I would recommend the Jigsaw course. But if the just pure data scientist is your end goal, then Great Lakes is a great course. Because all these courses, and even Advancer, which I was working with, was a good course, but it was very specific in the sense they will teach you few algorithms focused. What their selling proposition was that focus on SAS, focus on R, which are the core tools, and focus on only those areas which are very common, like the logistic regression, the clustering and things like that. So which is very common. So they focused on that kind of a thing. But Great Lakes is a course where you want to do more advanced stuff.
Okay. So there is one course offered in IIM Bangalore as well, currently on data analytics as such. So do you have any idea whether, that covers the ground which I should be looking to become a data scientist eventually? So basically I have a consulting background, hardcore consulting background. So I do now want to become a data scientist eventually because it's time to reinvent myself is what I truly believe. So there's a course in IIM Bangalore which I'm currently evaluating considering I'm located out of Bangalore. So if you have any idea about it, that would be great.
Yeah, see, there are three kinds of courses available in the analytics and data science segment over the last 5 years. And there are the IITs which come out with courses. There are the IIMs which are coming out with courses. And there are these independent institutes which are coming out with courses. Now these independent institutes, like I gave you example of Jigsaw and Great Lakes, they are tie-ups with US universities. So they are basically tied up with some computer science university. One is Chicago University, one is Illinois University, right? There are many such management courses, even which are IISB also ties up with Galet Shimuri, who is the Irish, I think Israeli lady who is doing very elementary stuff to complex stuff. She can explain to you data science in 5 minutes. So that is her level of expertise. But the question with IIMs is that if you are going to be geared for pure analytics like marketing analytics, an IIM course will be very good. But if you are going into hardcore machine learning, then IIM course will not take you there.
Okay.
So you have to look at it in terms of if it is management based or is it science based.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, that helps. I'll look into it a little more deeply.
Yeah, so if you're looking at analytics in sales, finance, marketing, that kind of a thing, IIM's courses are very good. In fact, they used to do it in IIM Ahmedabad long back. Rama Bijapurkar, my colleague, used to be actually conducting lectures there. She still does. So they are marketing and finance focused.
Okay. Okay. So basically, most of the IIMs, the way I understand it is, it's more of commercial kind of a thing. But if I want to do more from a research perspective, I should go for that GLIM and Jigsaw. That's my understanding.
More from management, yeah. In fact, even with Bangalore, this is again a management institute. So their focus was, marketing and finance kind of a thing.
Okay, got it. Thanks a lot.
Because that is the diktat given by the Bombay University and all those tie-ups of the government, what a management institute should have and what an engineering institute should have.
Right. Okay. Got an idea right now. Thanks.
Hi Savita, this is Srividya.
Hi Srividya.
Yeah. Savita, thanks a lot for this very motivational and inspiring talk. I mean, and whatever you have explained, it really resonates with a lot of us, I believe. So just to give you background, I'm around 10 plus in BI data warehousing myself. And in my last job, I was a project manager in the BI data warehousing space. But now I'm having a 4-year career break. So I'm planning to resume and restart my career in the same, I think it makes sense in restarting in the BI data warehousing space where I left off. So would you have any tools or, ETL or reporting tools which you would recommend for a person like me with a BI background on which are the tools you think I should pursue as part of self-learning or reskilling myself?
Yeah, one thing before you get into tools, BI-DW has transitioned a lot in the last 4 years. Unfortunately, you've taken a break when BI itself has transitioned. So BI has got into data lake, BI has got into the analytics, self-service and stuff like that. So you have to focus on those areas of extensions of BI. And self-service BI has become very important because a lot of people are wanting things to be done themselves rather than giving it to an IT guy. So one thing which you need to look at is self-service BI, BI tools like Tableau, which do a lot of visualization because visualization tools are very important today. So that's one thing which you need to learn. I would suggest Tableau as a tool and also the Microsoft OLAP tools because they found, Microsoft bundle of OLAP tools, the Pivot BI and the things like that. So these are basically the newer things which are helpful in, see what happens with BI. BI has 3 segments to it. One is the highly commercial MicroStrategy, Cognos variety. The other tools are like the Microsoft, which is, easy to use, easy to learn. You get it as a freebie with your SQL Server and things like that. The third kind of tools are more focused on visualization itself. Today the world is looking at a lot of visualization in pure BI. So ClickView and Tableau are the two tools which come in there.
Okay. And on the ETL
But
front,
more important for you is to digress into the data lakes and the analytics part of extension of BI. Because BI today is not looked at individually as it used to be. Most companies are going to be having a data warehouse attached to a data lake.
and on the ETL front, would you recommend any tools?
ETL front, I think the tools which were there haven't changed very much, but Talend and all have come into play. TALEND, which is the open source. A lot of things in BI, a lot of open source has been given importance today, rather in the industry generally. So Talend is coming forward with its own set of tools. Informatica also has a great tool, and also there is I think one, I forget the name, but there is a tool which handles a lot of big data besides Hadoop.
Probably Pentaho.
Yeah, Pentaho is a little complex to use because it's networked with a whole lot of, Pentaho is a whole package. So if you want the OLAP with it, the ETL tool with it, the database schematic with it, then you would go in for a Pentaho and a MongoDB.
And I mean, as far as, yeah, as you said, Talend and some of these tools, but is there something called as Informatica for BI, for data warehousing, or for BI, no, for big data?
Yes, Informatica has been reinventing. I don't know what they're calling it, but they are reinventing for, I just got an invite from them last week. I'll just recheck the nomenclature which they have given that. So yes, it does handle big data. It's like a Teradata equivalent.
And on the databases side, which one would be the best ones to pursue?
Databases side, I'm a big fan of SQL Server, but MySQL is what the industry is picking up. Because today you can run any application with MySQL. MySQL and NoSQL. So MySQL for the normal database development and NoSQL for the big data development.
So if I wanted to foray into analytics, because I already have a BI background, which are the tools you think will be suitable for me to pick up at this point in time? Because I don't have a Java background if I needed to pursue Hadoop or something. So that's where I'm coming from.
No, I think Hadoop you cannot shy away from if you are getting into big data. But Hadoop has come out with its own flavors of Spark and stuff like that. So Spark is getting more momentum. So you would rather focus on tools like Spark, which are not very, but there are other tools which do the front-ending part. So you don't have to go into the gory language part of it. So there are a lot of tools which are, if you look at the set of big data tools like Pig and Spark and all these, everywhere you don't need a language. So you need to have, I mean, some point of time you will have to go into some language, but not that much development as in Hadoop.
Okay.
You would rather do, what I mean is you would rather do an HDB database, HDFS file system, that kind of learning you would rather do than understanding the whole Hadoop in detail as a language.
Right. Correct. And or would you recommend I get into analytics, because there's the SAS part and you know there is the SAS BI and all that stuff. So does getting into SAS make more sense at this point in time for me?
Well, it depends where you want to be located. If you're going to be located in India, then SAS BI has not gained any momentum. It never had. But if you are looking at the world as a space, then yes, SAS is a leading tool.
But what about SAS for
India is more of SAS is a language. I've been with SAS since 1980. So I have not seen any changes in SAS in India because people prefer free tools. People prefer less expensive tools. But yes, SAS has come out with something on the cloud. That might be a good idea to get into.
And there is something called a SAS Visual Analytics, right? So even that's
so
a good
SAS
one.
has about 23, 24 tools to it. One which handles the data warehousing ETL part, one which handles EIS part, which is, like that sales analytics which I mentioned in Oracle Express, one which handles the visualization part, one which handles data duplication part. So they have a lot of importance given to data duplication and data cleansing. So that way there is a set of 25, 26 tools, and they have attached to Hadoop now. Everybody has now attached, in SAP HANA is attached, everybody is attached to Hadoop and Spark.
So would you suggest I get into SAS analytics then in that case? For example, base advanced SAS and visual analytics or whatever, all that part, predictive modeling and all that.
If analytics is where you want to go, then SAS is a good option. But if it is just BI and visualization, I think Tableau is the best option today.
Tableau is the best, yeah. Because
because it gives you basic BI and it gives you a very good geographical analysis and visualization.
Okay. So these tools like Tableau and ClickView is what you suggest?
Yeah. Okay. And they are easy to learn. There are also some BI frameworks which have come in, which are where you can go and build your own BI reports and stuff using a primarily framework, industry specific and things like that. So you can look at those tools as well. If you just net off as a BI framework, you will find some tools.
All right, I'll check on that. And
so that is if you want to build an application. Huh?
Yeah, if I want to build an entire application out of it. And also, I mean, because I feel I'm at a crossroads where, BI is slowly phasing out and everything's moving into analytics.
BI will never phase out. I'm a hardcore BI person. I can teach BI in my sleep. So BI is never going to fade out. What will happen is we'll reinvent. It'll make it easier for the common man to use. So today IT is not going to be involved. The marketing is going to be involved. So more of marketing, the fields, the finance, the CFOs will get involved in using the BI tools. And that's why I said tools like ClickView will gain momentum, and hardcore BI, you'll have to kind of get into development like frameworks and stuff like that.
Okay. So if I want to transition into the big data analytics space from where I am currently, you would suggest that I move into, Tableau, ClickView, or maybe the ETL part would be Talent is more used on the BI, on the big data front, I mean, with respect to big data space, or how is it? When you say Talent?
Talent is a general open source tool, which is, I think, now getting hooks with big data. See, most tools, if you look at today, whether it is otherwise, have hooks to Hadoop, hooks to Spark. So you can connect a big data lake into that and do your ETL in your Talent, or ETL in your SAS data warehouse, or ETL in your SAP BW, whatever it is.
Okay. So SAP HANA, would you recommend that I pursue something along those lines? I mean, as I understand, it's more used in the analytics space, and it is also it has some BI part as well, isn't it?
SAP has a couple of BI tools. The SAP Business Warehouse, which is the ETL component. Then they have the SAP OLAP components, which are the info cubes to it. And then it has the predictive analytics as an independent tool, which is now bundled under business objects. So they are taken over business objects. So now business objects, predictive analytics, that's the tool I'm implementing currently. Predictive analytics version 3.1. So they have a complete predictive analytics, and two sets of predictive analytics are there. One which is a part of HANA and one which is built on top of that using C++.
Okay. So learning SAP HANA would be relevant is what you're trying to say, is it? As far as analytics is concerned.
Analytics, HANA will be the way to go. India is still not there. It's still gaining momentum. But abroad, HANA is there too. And that's why I was kind of contemplating this 3 years ago, whether I should put my whole heart and soul in HANA, yes or no, because it is a very difficult tool to learn if you want to know end to end, End to end, of course, you will never know the tool, but to be able to do application development, because it's, SAP, I'm an SAP partner, but I can say that SAP is a very, very difficult tool to learn because of the kind of security measures they built into the tools. But it's a very good tool to implement. So from an end user perspective, it's a very secure tool compared to any others.
Any others? Okay. And Savita, needed to reach you. Because you mentioned that you could let us know, let me know
Yeah,
regarding
my email ID, she can share it with you. Is analyticas.sk@gmail.com. Or you can look at it on my LinkedIn profile. You can get the email ID there as well.
Thanks a lot. It was really helpful. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
There is a question from Vidya on the chat window. So if you would like to take up that question.
Just a second. Huh?
Yeah.
See a couple of questions there. 1 second.
Right.
One is on the feedback. Okay, Vidya, 7 years of experience, worked in Java, in USA, India. Took a break for 4 years. Can you suggest me how to deal with the break in interviews? As I did latest certification in Java, did few test courses and working on project on my own, still in the interviews. No, I think this is something which is case-to-case basis how the industry handles that, the kind of person who interviews you. I mean, in my previous company, I have seen that people on breaks were, very readily taken back into the system. And now with Smita doing all this for jobs for her, I think that's a platform for people to relook at all of you. So I don't think through this media, because people who want re-entry are only invited. So Smita, I think this is something which you need to address, that she needs to be a part of your focus program.
Yes, definitely.
Because the reason she is giving is that they did not take a break very nicely. So I think that has to be with the companies who coach for these people.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Sonam Gandhi from Mumbai. Since you are on the topic of the gap and the interviews and all the negative experiences, I would like to share similar experience.
Okay.
So yeah, so I have about 4 years of gap, and whenever someone calls me for the interview, the point to notice here is that I am called for the interview every time they look at my profile. And whenever I reached at the interview venue, they send me back saying that they are not looking for someone with a gap, and they need a professional experience in so and so area. And then I asked the same question, asking that when you saw my profile, it clearly says that I have a career gap, then why did you call me and waste my time? So they don't give any answer on that, because it's the HR department that sets up the interview, and it's someone else in the other department who takes the interview. And I personally feel that there is no proper communication between them, and this is the reason I have been called for the interview so many times these days, and every time they send me back saying that I have a career gap which they do not want to consider. So
the career gap is for health reasons or non-health reasons?
Non-health. I got married and shifted to US, and now I'm back. And
so I don't see any problem. I don't see any problem there. I know. The thing is,
yeah,
when it is an interview or a recruitment, today what you have got to realize that in the industry, the demand-supply ratio is the reverse, because there's a lot of demand for skills, but the supply is exceeding that. So any criteria you get for rejection, you just go forward with it. So if there is somebody in the organization who wants to favor someone, you say, okay, I rejected this person. So there is no reason. So you can find 25 other reasons for rejecting you. Somebody doesn't like your way of talking, he will reject you. So there is no particular criteria. So when you are rejecting a person. But people who are genuinely rejecting for the reasons of a gap are only those people who feel that you are not equipped. So they will normally reject you after the interview, not before that. In the sense that what have you done in this? Oh, this is a particular case where people have just decided to reject a person. I mean, I faced a lot of rejections. I was even told an interview will be done by a CIO in the United States. I'm waiting for the interview. Nobody turns up, and he says, "Sorry, we recruited somebody else." Okay, but at least you should have the person say so, you know.
I actually do not have a problem with rejection. The problem is the waste of time. If you already know that I have a gap, and if you do not wish to consider someone with a gap.
That I think is a genuine problem with recruitment, and that is something which in HR forums we have taken forward, that recruiters never get back. And you know, and recruiters never tell you why you're not called, or why you. So that is a genuine, I think, a black mark in the recruitment industry. And I think, Smita, you should take this forward with the institutes, institutes who do this.
Yeah, Savita, that's why we are not, we do not have those companies on our portal who do this.
Correct. So I think on this portal, and I think maybe it is Smita's portal or anybody else's portal who are calling back those employees whom they think are important. I think you should touch base with those portals.
Okay, no problem.
So
I have another question.
Yeah, sure.
Should I go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead. I was just trying to get this thing, sign up thing for jobs for her if you want to, you know, restart your career with. I think the idea, Smita, you can throw some light on this in further, but the idea is to get those people back into the system who have left mainly for a career break, maybe personal reasons or any other reason.
Sure, Savita, I can do that, but I think you can just answer some more questions and then I'll do at the end of the session, probably another 5 minutes.
Yeah, sure. I have one more question from Kalyani. 7 years of experience, 3.5 maternity, would like to. I think Kalyani's question also says I should be putting it on the portal, chance to have women like me to prove our mettle. So obviously I think these all people need to put it around your portal.
Hi Savita, Kirti again. I have one question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started my BI career in ab initio, which is again, yeah. So, and later on, I was in my last company, I was into core ETL kind of role, just using ab initio. Later on, I took a break, and now I have recently completed a Tableau certification course. So my thing is that I know how to visualize the data, how to use the ETL, but the core analytics things I am not aware of. So can you just suggest me some statistics course, maybe which is having some valid degree, or maybe 1 year or 2 year, which I can pursue side by side along with looking for jobs, so that I can excel?
If you're looking for analytics is one thing. If you're looking for statistics is another. Statistics, there are two things you should do. One is there are a lot of open books available which you can download free of cost. Always keep those books with you and do some online course from one of these institutes like a Stanford or a Cambridge or things like that, which are open courses by them, which is free of cost, which will teach you statistics the right way.
Okay.
So, and there is, if you want, I can even share some templates of those courses. So what you should do. So those courses you should be doing. You need not get a certification in that, but you will understand the stats behind the analytics part. Because analytics has just two components to it. One is the analytical technique which you use, like a cluster or a choice modeling or time series or whatever. Another is the statistics behind it. So both these you need to understand.
So with Tableau, what do you suggest? Like going for statistical knowledge would be good enough, or I should go for the techniques kind of thing?
No, the Tableau has nothing to do with it. The question is, if you want to get into analytics or into data science, then you need a bunch of two things. One is the mathematical statistical knowledge, another is the technique knowledge. So a
Okay.
technique
But
would be whatever
yeah, please go on.
clustering or choice modeling or upscale, what they call it, upscale and across which you are buying more products or you're buying in the same segment. Or
Okay, but I'm
multiple
not
use
so.
of association analysis. These are all techniques that a person buys one brand, he buys another brand. So that's the technique. But the underlying statistics is an a priori statistics.
Okay.
So you need to understand both these components to be able to run a model.
Okay, but I'm not so much interested into data science kind like R, Python and all that. I wanted to go into a proper visualization thing where we can provide the insights and data analysis kind of. I'm not interested into programming side of that. So what
No,
do
I
you
think
suggest
insights,
for?
when you say insights, then I think you have to hook on to some analytical tool. You cannot do it without an analytical tool. Otherwise it will be a pure BI or a visualization tool.
Okay. Okay.
I can get insight from this means I'm using some kind of a algorithm behind it. I'm doing a drill down means I'm using a BI. I'm doing a visualization like a map, I'm doing a visualization. So these are three different things.
Okay, and only with the Tableau or this visualization thing, can I get a job in this sector, or I need to do data science course or some R or Python
No,
or
I
SAS?
don't think. I think if you want to remain in BI, all that you need to do is improvise on your BI or any of these newer tools which are self-service BI tools as they call themselves.
Okay.
If you want to graduate into analytics, I say graduate because that's the path. I went the other way around. People go from databases to BI to analytics. I went exactly the reverse. I first understood analytics, then BI, then databases.
Okay. And do you have any idea like how that, I found out one course from IGNOU that is applied statistics using mathematical and computers. So it is 1 year course. If you have any idea about it, like how is it, or if I can go
IGNOU
for it.
course is like, I was just telling one of the people on this thing that there are three kinds of courses. One is those which are affiliated to the engineering streams and which have a lot of background in computer science and statistics and mathematical linear algebra. And machine learning is the path for that. Data science is the path for that. But management courses like IGNOU is also more of a management kind of a course. They are more focused on the financial analytics, the marketing analytics, more so marketing analytics and things like that.
Okay.
Thank you, Kirti.
I would not personally recommend IGNOU to you because I think it's a waste of time doing a 1 year course when you can get the same thing in a jigsaw or a jigsaw equivalent free courses which are there. 6 month, 3 month.
Okay.
Because
Hi.
IGNOU will teach you a lot of other things which you don't need for that 1 year.
Okay. And
And I don't
what
think you
about,
have the time to, spend that much.
yeah, and
Hi, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Savita, my name is Megha. I just joined a little late. Missed your introduction part. But looking at your LinkedIn profile, it looks like you're based out of Mumbai. Um, and I'm based in Mumbai as well. So first question is, do we have luxury to get in touch with you after this session?
Yes, you have my email ID on LinkedIn. You can feel free to reach out to me.
Wonderful. And then taking your comment, like starting from databases, getting into BI, and then to analytics. I am one of those. But then for last 2 years, I had taken a break for my daughter's
I'm losing you in between. Can you focus on the mic because intermittently I can hear you.
Okay. Am I audible now?
Getting lost in between, I think.
I guess maybe it's a network issue or something.
maybe.
Will it help if I
just be a little louder so that we can get you. Yeah, much better.
Yeah, I hope I'm not screaming out on the other side. Okay. So my taking your comment to the next stage. I mean, I am one of those who started from databases, got into EI, and then to analytics eventually. Last 2 years, I'm on break for my father's health issues. Yeah. So last when I was working, I was project managing or program managing analytics projects, typically marketing analytics type of projects. So more than tools and all other stuff, I would like your advice in terms of how to take it forward. Like wherever I left, basically I project managed Tableau projects, worked on Amazon related cloud services as well. So, but then the same thing is happening. Like, you know, I get a call, but then LinkedIn doesn't say that I took a break, but then my profile does say, I mean, my resume does say that. So it's again, I understand the demand supply equation, but then if I really want to beat that demand supply equation, what would you suggest?
No, again, I will push you back to Smita on this because there have to be. I've just got a mail from the government of India, Women Transforming India. Okay, so here women are struggling to get a job. Okay, that's in fact that's an interesting site to be on, government of India, which will tell you what is happening in India. Okay, now the thing which I was what you were mentioning is that people don't acknowledge the break very nicely. So there are, as I said, there are different kinds of people. One who feel that she's not current, she's not in the technology which we want and things like that. So for that, the only option is that you have to reinvent yourself. You have to learn the tech in this particular thing that has moved away. So you have to go ahead, do some further certifications and understanding. The other piece is that people just don't want to re-employ you because they feel you have a small baby, you will take leave and things like that. So that's a very woman-unfriendly organization. So I wouldn't even recommend you join that organization. Okay?
Absolutely.
So, because today organizations should be such that they have a crash around, or they at least allow you to take that kind of a leave or partially work from home. I have two of my ex-deputies. One of them has got a serious baby problem today. Believe me, she did not even know English when I recruited her. And I recruited her just to do simple Excel because that is what she was good at. And I graduated her into becoming my secretary as a lean head.
Wow.
So meaning lean head means she had to interact with every business unit to get their data from there. Okay, so she had to actually learn English through PPTs and things like that. I said, go and learn English. But I'd rather make you learn English than appoint somebody else, because she knew me in and out and she could handle everything. So she was another Miss Kirpalani in the backing, Today they cannot fire her because she is so multi-talented. So she is working from home for managing her 2-year-old who's fallen sick. And they have given her a break to work entirely from home.
Wow.
So that depends on the kind of culture the company has today. The company I was working also didn't have that culture, but we had to slowly induce that culture in the company.
That's true.
So I think the answer to the question is that you have to keep going to companies which are women friendly. That's one. But if it is a question of just the break part of it and the technology part of it, I think you have to reinvent in terms of courses and learning. And meetup groups is a very good place to network with like-minded people. There are a lot of meetups in Mumbai addressing only BI, addressing only analytics, addressing only Hadoop, whatever you want. There is another group of Analytics Vidya, which teaches, I think that site will teach you a lot in analytics.
Okay, maybe I'll keep in touch with you over emails because I have very specific questions about taking it forward. So it is very nice talking to you, and your session also was pretty motivating.
Thank you, Megha, and thank you all. I think we need to end this session as we are overshot by already by 20 minutes. Yes, if you want to hear more from Savita, yes, you can get in touch with her through email. And also to Mumbaiers, you can please attend the mentorship roadshow, which is happening on this Saturday, as Savita will be a part of it. And you can definitely have a face-to-face conversation with her. Thank you, Savita, for taking such your time to give such a wonderful session and also patiently answering so many queries. You have definitely covered as what a woman needs to do on her career break, how she needs to upskill herself, how she needs to keep herself occupied and reinvent herself to restart her career. That's a wonderful thing that you've shared with us. And we look forward to having you on our roadshow. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank you.
Bye.